everybody. Welcome to Vikings Report Rewind. As always, I'm your humble host, Ted Glover. To my immediate stage right is co-host number one, Drew Bunning. Immediately below us, only in screen only, is co-host number two, the owner, proprietor, and numero uno blogger of the SB Nation website, the Daily Norseman, dailynorseman.com. The one, the only Christopher Gates. Gentlemen, another barn burner. The Vikings moved to 7-2 with a scorcher down in Duval. Vikings win 12-7 thanks to the leg of John Parker Romo, who, believe it or not, is not a serial killer because all serial killers have three names. Man. I don't know what to make of this game. Oh, go ahead.
Before we get too deep into this, I just want to make the following statement. To any of you out there who picked my team in No One Cares About Your Fantasy Team for this week, on one hand, I am truly, deeply, and profoundly sorry. But on the other hand, y'all should have known better.
There you go.
That's enough of that. I'm done feeling bad about it because it was ugly. But what's that Uncle Polly saying, Drew?
A win is a win, even if it's hanging off the ass of a cow.
That's exactly right.
And that thing was dangling from the heifer.
Already got some great comments coming in. Coach Gothard says, I'm watching this game on replay during my colonoscopy. Coach, go under anesthesia for one of those. It's the best medicine ever. Man, I think the Vikings ran 112 plays in Jacksonville territory today and got no touchdowns, Drew.
In fact, at one point, they had 36 plays in the Jaguars' territory, and the Jags only had 34 offensive plays total.
It was unbelievable.
If you read the stats, it would look like a 40-10 game. I'm going to say this. I don't want people commenting in, tell Drew we won the game, it quit such being a downer and all this, because my take is probably not going to be happy with everybody else. I'm glad we won the game, but I'm going to leave the commentary pretty much to you guys and the chat, because I don't want to get anybody all Drew hates it, Drew's ESAT Nation, because it was horrible football by the Vikings, but they won the game. And they won the game because they were playing the worst team in the league. But if you looked at the stats they were flashing up on the screen, it was unbelievable. It was 7-6. They had one good drive the whole game. One good drive, and it gave them the lead for almost the whole game. It was like, I know it's going to be tough from week to week, but if you play like this, it's not pretty. But I'll take the win, and I'll save everybody my breakdown of what I really think of that offense. And shout out to the defense. They pulled it out again today.
They did. They had 4 drives of over 10 plays. 4 drives of over 10 plays. And they had
a 17-play drive that resulted in 0 points.
Yeah. That took over 10 minutes of game time and scored 0 points on that. And so the obvious question is, and Drew, we have kind of a group chat that we don't really talk about a whole lot during the game, but we bring it up during, critical junctures. And Drew, you brought this up. Todd Taylor, $12 donation for the Romo field goals, minus $3 for Darnold's pick, minus $4 for me picking Chris's team this week is $5. Todd, well done. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Don't ever make me do math publicly like that. Thank you for providing the answer to begin with, but appreciate the donation, folks. Every bit of money you give us goes right back into the prize vault for Vikings Report. So thank you for the donation, Todd.
Best fans on this show ever. We got the best followers on the show.
Absolutely.
He did the math. He did the math for you, which was nice.
Can't complain. Chuck Litwin, skull winning ugly, just like when my wife married me. I love self-deprecating humor. Can't beat self-deprecation on this show.
Nice comment, man.
The one thing we talked about this. I was going to mention, Drew, and you brought this up in our chat was Sam Darnold. I mentioned Sam Darnold regressing, and Drew, what was it? I said he was focusing in on or zeroing in on one receiver, and I think you said You said something else. What was it? Do you remember off the top of your head?
I said I finally figured out what's going on with Darnold now and what's happened to him his whole professional career. And it doesn't take brain physicist. I don't know what the word is. Sam Darnold forces footballs. That's his problem.
Yeah.
Everything today was forced, including the one that didn't count as an interception, was forced to Addison. You take that. I bet you if I went back and looked at that time on the Jets and Carolina, I bet you I'm confident to say 90% of his picks were probably forced footballs to guys that were covered. And ever since the second half of that Jets game, he's been forcing everything. And he's not going to change, I don't think, because how does he change at this point in his career? And this should be the guy that's KOC's more comfortable working with him than he is with Josh Dobbs. Because, you know what I'm saying? KOC's not a run around type of mentor for quarterbacks. He's exactly what Darnold needed. And I don't know. I imagine he's addressed the turnover problem, but it's all, what's with forcing that football? I don't get it. Especially if it's been a problem for him his whole career. He's got to. Why wouldn't you stop by now? I don't know what's good. When he goes back to pass, I'm like nervous. It's like watching Greg Joseph run out there to kick a field goal. That's how I feel now. And I used to have, first 3 weeks, I was really confident, Chris and Ted, when he went back to pass. I don't feel confident anymore.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead with that.
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a couple of those passes, you heard Sanchez talking about it on the broadcast, like that third interception I think it was the third interception, where it looked like Jefferson was running the corner route. If Darnold puts that ball in the right place, Jefferson catches that ball and it's a touchdown. I don't know if Darnold's seeing ghosts, hearing footsteps, whatever the hell he's got going on at this point. But I think Drew said it. Ever since the London game, this has been an issue for him because he was trying to force deep passes all through that game. He's been trying to force deeper passes all year, and it just hasn't been happening for him. And I don't know what they can get to do to change that.
Ted, can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure.
And you notice when a quarterback is off, not only the interceptions, it seemed like there was 8 or 10 passes the Vikings had to either catch with one hand, had to drag it in off the ground, have to leap and make a one-handed catch, had to contort your body to make the Hawkinson, Oliver contorting his body to make a pass that's behind him. Even a lot of the incompletions were trashy passes. So it's not just the picks. I don't know what's going on with him. Even the completions were kind of, Jefferson has to pick it up off the ground, barely gets that first down. It's like, so his completions weren't really anything to write home about either, Ted.
Right. It's been frustrating to see. I think it's kind of a regression to the mean at this point. Somebody posted earlier, I think, kind of quoting Denny Green, Sam is kind of who we thought he is. He had that infamous when Denny was the Arizona coach after he left the Vikings. And I think it was 2006. They played the Bears, and they had the Bears on the ropes, and they let them back in the game, and they eventually won. And he had that infamous post-game rant. Yeah. And he said, "We are who we thought they were," and they let him off the hook. And he slammed his fist against the podium a couple times. And
want to crown their asses, then crown them.
Yeah, maybe we're starting to see that. Because you also mentioned earlier in that chat we were talking about, Drew, that the first 3 or 4 games of the season he wasn't doing that, and now he is. And I think it might have been Vikings Uncensored. Our friend Rhino mentioned he's locking on to guys like whoever the first or second guy is. He does that. He looks at whoever that primary or secondary receiver is, and doesn't go past that. On that one interception in the end zone, I believe, it looked like it was a third down play, and Aaron Jones looked like he was wide open. If he dumps it off to Aaron Jones, he gets the first down, and the Vikings are in business. And and he threw it into the end zone. I think he was looking for Jefferson, who wasn't open, and it was an interception. And I mean, he had 2 interceptions in the end zone, and I mean, it just killed the Vikings.
It's not that he didn't see Aaron Jones either. He looked right at him, Ted.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fact that, he didn't see him like Addison last week. He looked right at Jones. And right when if you look at the replay, the guy slipped. Jones would have probably maybe even got inside the 2-yard line on that play.
Yeah.
Take he's not taking what's there, Ted, and he was doing that in the Texans game, the Niners game. It's just, I don't know. Maybe is he one of those quarterbacks when things start going wrong, he just like it goes haywire in his head or something?
You're muted, Ted.
You're muted.
Oh, Chris, I don't know
There you
about
go.
There you
that.
go. There you go. There you go.
I just think he I just think he focuses in on one guy. And I mean, like, look, I don't necessarily blame him because it's Justin Jefferson, but
Yeah.
But man, I mean, look, scan the field, look for your open guy.
And he established it early in the game that he didn't have to look for Jefferson all the time. Josh Oliver and T.J. Hawkinson were tearing it up in the early part of this game. I mean, Josh Oliver, that guy, I'm surprised he didn't have 100 yards receiving today. I mean, he was doing a lot. Hawkinson on that one long drive, there was 4 third downs on that drive that they converted by throwing the ball to Hawkinson. That's what Hawkinson is there for. I mean, if you're in third and short, third and medium or whatever, that's what that dude is there for. And you've got him back. And, I understand Justin Jefferson is the best receiver on the planet and everything else. But, dude, you've got so many other things you can choose from out there. You don't need to do that all the time. Bad.
I think it was Norsevius that said KOC's play calling was ass. Drew, I know you have not been a fan of KOC's play calling. I wasn't too terribly. I mean, there was the one idiotic. The Vikings had a really good play drive going. Aaron Jones had gotten hurt. Ty Chandler had come in and he was running the ball well. The Vikings were at either around the 20 or the 25. They had gotten a first down and they went with this double reverse that lost 7 or 8 yards. I thought that was stupid. Other than that, I thought the play calling was okay for the most part. They just could not. It was just kind of just stupid turnovers, and I don't know. What were your thoughts on the play calling today?
Or those pre-snap penalties?
That kind of reared its ugly head again. I mean,
the KOC has been saying we can't do for the last 4 press conferences. Yeah. Don't watch his press conferences anymore because even if win or lose, it's my guys played with heart. It's this thing we got to clean up. The same shit every week. I wasn't really down on his play calling, but as I watched that drive, and you mentioned it with Hawkinson catching those first down passes, it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. You shouldn't take you 5 or 6 freaking third downs to get down the field against Jacksonville. Get some chunk yards. He came out in the third quarter, had that Addison out route where he had to make another contorted catch, jump up and catch it. But I think it was not aggressive enough. And I think by the time it got to the second half, KOC was going to run it up the middle every time he was inside the 20. I mean, you got that intercept or the Harrison Phillips fumble recovery. You got to go in the end zone to end the game. But the more you go as a game, you're not successfully scoring. As the game goes along, you get more gun shy as the game goes along. So I understand what KOC was doing. At this point, I got to run it, kick a field goal, and hope to up it 3 more. Yeah. But it was that red zone play call. The Vikings are Super Bowl champions between the 30s. Let me tell you.
They look great, right? The one play call I want to point out that absolutely pissed me off to no end, and I mentioned it in the group chat, and Chris Papa just brought it up here. After the Murphy interception, you're sitting there, you're staring at 3rd and 1.
Right.
You brought Aaron Jones back after he got carted off into the locker room. Didn't look like he was going to come back. 3rd and 1, and you run some, I don't even know what the hell they were trying to do there, but run the ball on 3rd down. And if you don't get it on 3rd down, run the ball again on 4th down. Because you take a sack there, you lose 8 yards, and then you got to punt the ball back to Jacksonville. Yeah. There was no reason to call a pass play there. That might have been the worst play call I've seen from this team all year. That was terrible.
That's a great point. You got to consider who you're playing too, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The situation of your opponent has to have something to do with it. Like you said, you run it once, you run it twice because it's Jacksonville and they suck at moving the football. You're playing Kansas City, you run it once and punt or whatever, but Just like the Lions game when they had a chance to close that game out. That third down play sucked balls too. I don't know how else to put it, but you can't give Jacksonville even a chance there at the end. You pick off that pass with Murphy, couple first downs, you get on the plane and go home. But if the Vikings don't want to let us celebrate, they don't want us to have the nice things. So we can't celebrate until it's over. But crucial, situational football, you got to look at who you're playing. You're playing Jacksonville, you do exactly what Chris just said, Ted. You run it twice. If you can't get a first down on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, then you suck anyway. You got to end the game.
I agree.
Gonna bite their ass.
I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand that 3rd down pass call and taking the sack there either, because 3rd and 1, Darnold's a good running quarterback. You sneak it there, and you probably get the first down, or if not, you get it to 4th and like 2 or 3 inches, and then you do the brotherly shove, and you probably get the first down like they did earlier in the game.
Sure.
When they were at the 20 or whatever it was, and they ended up kicking a John Parker Romo field goal. How about that guy, by the way? Just signing him on Tuesday and kicked 4 field goals and
won the game for us.
Yep. Yeah.
I look up at the TV and I'm thinking, how is it 7-6 Jacksonville? This is like the worst. Jacksonville's terrible. Come on.
They really are.
You can't score a touchdown against Jacksonville? Ted, come on. You're making life difficult on yourself, and you don't have to. I mean,
if Trevor Lawrence played today, would the Vikings have won this football game?
No, absolutely not.
No, he would have got some chunk yards downfield because him and Brian Thomas. Look, Brian Thomas didn't do anything. Yeah. Mac Jones is just Mac Jones got that first touchdown. He's talking shit like he's and the Vikings made him pay later because he looked like Michigan quarterback Davis Warren in the second half. That's what he looked like, and that's not good.
Woo.
But the Vikings, you let them hang around. At the end of the year, when you're getting ready to try for a playoff run, the one thing you look at is the worst game we played on the season, we won. So I guess that's a positive way to look at it. But then again, you come to the playoffs, Chris, you play like that, you ain't going to go anywhere in the playoff.
Oh, no. You can't do this against playoff teams. You'll lose by 30.
Lions would have licked our tits today and enjoyed it.
Yeah, they would have.
Man, I mean, I've got the stats if you want to hear some of this ridiculousness. I mean,
before you run the stats, I want people in the chat to give us some positivity on what we're supposed to be looking at in this game. But go ahead, Chris. Read us.
All right.
I've been wondering. I've been anxious to hear the stats.
Let's see. We've got first downs. Minnesota 28, Jacksonville 10. Total net yards. Minnesota 402, Jacksonville 143. Net yards rushing. Minnesota 169, Jacksonville 56. Net yards passing. Minnesota 233, Jacksonville 87. They had less than 100 net yards passing on the day, and we beat that team by 5 points.
What was the time of possession?
Oh, let me find the time of possession. I got that here.
40
Minnesota, 42 minutes and 19 seconds. Jacksonville, 17 minutes and 41 seconds. I believe they said in the broadcast that was the most time of possession for any team in a game this season. And they won by 5 points.
I'd be interested to know for the Vikings franchise, when's the last time we held the ball for 42 minutes? Been a long time.
I'm probably going to say like 1974 against like the Packers or Lions.
Or the Saints.
Or maybe the Saints, yeah.
How the hell did we only win this game by 5? Chris just read a litany of great stats for the Vikings, and Ted, it sure didn't seem like that was the type of game that we just watched. It didn't.
Well, I mean, it was those long drives that ended up with no points or a field goal because of the turnovers, man. Yeah. I mean, it was Darnold becoming the Sam Darnold we've seen since he came into the league. We said earlier in the year or back in March or April, whenever it was the Vikings signed him, if Sam Darnold was ever going to have success, it was going to be with this team and with this coaching staff because of the talent he has around him. And he started off very well to begin.
He started out great the first month.
Yeah, he did. And it just seems since since the second half of that Green Bay game that he is not seeing the field like he was earlier, and he's forcing throws, and he's zeroing in and staring down his primary receiver. And I don't know, man. It's kind of frustrating to see.
You guys tell me, is it an offensive line issue? Does that have anything to do with the change? Or
I don't think so.
I mean,
so. The Vikings, I thought it might have been when Christian Darrisaw got hurt, but the Vikings went out and got Cam Robinson, who's about the best option you could have got during the at the trade deadline. And I don't think Darnold gets rattled. I mean, I think the offensive line has pretty much held up all season. I think Bradbury and Ingram are weaknesses, but no worse than, for the most part, anywhere else in the NFL. I mean, Ingram is Ingram at this point, and Darnold has the mobility to get away from pressure for the most part. And I think it's become a Darnold issue at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And people, they're saying to put Sam Darnold on the bench. Who the hell are you benching him for? Nick Mullins to do the same damn thing? I mean, I think this is completely on Sam Darnold. I know losing Christian Darrisaw is a big deal, but like Ted said, Cam Robinson is about as good as a replacement as you can hope for at this point in the season. And this is entirely on Sam Darnold. I mean,
sure,
somebody's got to get into that guy's head and go, dude, whatever you were doing earlier on the season, you got to go back to that somehow.
Here's the deal, though. These people on Twitter, who's saying you got to bench him and bring Mullins in? All you're going to do is destroy the locker room at this point in the team, because the team, you want your players to pull Darnold out of the doldrums. That's what you want, because it builds more of a team unity. If they all get behind him, JJ and Addison and the defensive line, and Darnold comes back with a 4-touchdown game, that's how you build a winner and a team. You bench Darnold now, you're taking a chance on screwing everything. Don't listen to those Twitter idiots. Don't listen to those people. Something I want to go over real quick was I called out the Vikings this week offensively. If you read my post that I made, my preview of the game, I called them out. First 4 weeks, they had 13 offensive touchdowns. Last 4 games, they had 8. And today they had 0. So that means the last 5 games, we've had 8 touchdowns. I called them out. They didn't respond. They got to figure it out, because you're not playing Jacksonville every week. But Darnold's your best chance to win. Don't listen to these asinine idiots out there that say this stuff.
Yeah, I think you only put in Darnold you only put in Mullins if Darnold gets hurt. I think you signed Sam Darnold to be your quarterback this year. Somebody mentioned earlier that JJ might have gotten a look if he hadn't gotten hurt today. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe I don't know. But no, you started the season with Sam Darnold. You finished the season with Darnold, for better than worse. Chris Young says Darnold is better than this. I think he is. But look, you ride it out, man.
You start flopping your quarterbacks. You want to flop your quarterbacks in and out, you end up being the Raiders. Do you want to be the Raiders?
No.
You go with Darnold. He's the guy that got you to 6-2. He's the guy that's going to get you to 7-2. You're not going to start shuffling in the carousel. Bring Mullins in. Then when he screws up, we're not the Raiders. We're not.
Yeah. The Vikings are 7-2, and nobody really thought they would be 7-2 with Sam Darnold. So
no, they didn't.
I mean, the last couple wins have been fairly ugly, but they got the win. So I mean, it is what it is. Hey, folks, we've got let me see here. We've got 222 folks in our chat room. If you want to be eligible to win a prize, just make a comment in our live chat going off to the side. Toonces is making a list, checking it twice, and she's going to spin the wheel of destiny here at the end of the show, which is coming up here in a little bit. And if you are the lucky winner, when we spin, you'll be eligible to win a prize. So
Reggie's probably
yeah.
And Reggie is 100% right. It's week-to-week league. We were fortunate enough to play bad enough against a bad team and get a win. You flush, move on to next week, and in Piss Pound, Tennessee. That's right, man. We'll see what
I
happens.
love Reggie, man. That guy is
Yeah.
that guy's awesome. Vikings knowledge. He's an awesome fan, and his favorite player or favorite person, Anthony Tollison, is probably in agreement with him.
Hey, yeah, at least we weren't the Bears and Patriots today. The Bears lost to the Patriots
No.
like 19-3, I think, something like that.
We said the Bears are going in the toilet. They're going to lose the next
Yeah.
3 weeks too. They're done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm God. I didn't imagine doing this show if we blew that game on the last Jacksonville drive.
Well, hey, and if the Vikings couldn't close it out, at least the Jaguars closed themselves out with that.
Yeah, with that stupid. How stupid do you got to be to commit a penalty?
Unsportsmanlike call penalty. Like, come on,
I mean,
man.
I didn't understand the whole thing where they decided that Bynum was down at the 1 yard line instead of it being a touchback,
Bunch of
whatever.
dumb.
But it shouldn't have even been an issue. I mean, just I don't get it. But
Just
one
one
it
more
all
thing
worked
to
out
make our
well.
life difficult.
Yep.
It was really a tough game to sit through, and it's like you at least want to enjoy your wins. But if you're a football fan, even some of the wins you can't really enjoy. But in the end, you love that W. Everybody in the chat loves it. We love it, and we're not crippled for another week. But they got to figure some stuff out.
There was one interception the Jaguars had in the end zone, and to me it looked for sure that it was going to be overturned. It looked like the ball went through the defender's hand and hit the ground. But did you guys think it was an interception or was going to be reversed?
I thought they were gonna call it an incomplete pass. Honestly.
Okay. All right. That's what
Mouse
I
rat.
I thought for sure it was going to be overturned, but yeah, whatever.
Shout out to my buddies in Mouse Rat. I helped them write a song called "Sex Hair." Became a big hit. That's why I'm wearing their shirt today.
I've got that song on my iTunes.
Sex Hair?
It's a
great song. You know what got me about the officiating? That Jags guy caught that pass, Chris, and they called him inbounds, and the guy was looking right at it, like 5 feet away. What is wrong with the officials, dude?
The officiating has been just awful for about the last. I mean, just for our games, at least the last month. I mean, I don't know. It's. But the one at the end where it was a catch and then it wasn't a catch and then it was a catch and then nobody knows what the hell was going on. And yeah, I just don't understand anything about this game anymore. I don't know why I bother. But
and then Mac Jones. Well, then Cashman had a sack and was called for face masking. Which,
well, of course,
it was. But I mean, like Sam Darnold's head got turned around like Linda Blair's in The Exorcist with 2 referees looking right at him. And they wouldn't call that, but they called that one on Cashman today, who, by the way, had a great game in his first game back in 3 weeks. And I thought his return was noticeable.
Let's give a shout out to a few Vikings. I'm going to agree with you on Cashman. You guys give me a couple more guys. Cashman and Akers. I thought Akers played really well. Akers kind of filled in for what's his name when he got hurt, and I thought Akers played good.
Mentioned John Parker Romo, just kind of walked in off the street, had a clutch game.
Gotta give Ryan Wright some credit because there was a 1 field goal snap that looked like it was getting ready to go wide, and Wright snagged it and brought it in and got it down for Romo to put it through. I think it was on the field goal that made it 7-6.
So we're giving out accolades to the kicker and the punter. Must have been a tough week.
Yeah.
Chris Young mentioned Grenard. He was going to be my next guy. He stopped Travis Etienne in the backfield. I don't know how many tackles for losses did he have? At least 3 or 4, right. I think. He just seemed to be all over the place. The 4 or 5 minutes of game time, Jacksonville had the ball. Harrison Phillips again had a huge turnover.
Yep.
I thought that was Josh Oliver's best game as a Viking today.
It might have been.
Yeah. Hawkinson. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but TJ Hawkinson is Latin for mover of the chains.
Wow. He would.
Yeah.
He got obliterated on that one too. He caught that pass and got nailed, and I went, "Oh shit, that must have hurt."
Yeah. Every time he takes a big hit, I think, man, his knee just got exploded again. But that was, I mean, and the hits he's taken have been legit hits though too. So, but yeah, he had 7 catches, and I think.
Yeah, he led the Vikings in receiving. He had 8 for 72.
And it feels like 5 or 6 of them were for a first down.
He had 4 first downs on the one drive. all by himself. So
How many times during this game did Chris and Ted both say, "How the hell are we not 20 points ahead?"
mhm, we should have been. I mean,
Yeah.
we should have blown that team out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, looking at the stats, it said you'd think the Vikings won 35-10. My grandson Grayson came over. I said right before kickoff, I said, "All right, so what's your prediction for the score?" He said, "I think 34-10, Pop." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go 27-10." And here we are, 12-7. We're both standing up. We're both standing up, looking at the TV, and we're looking at each other, going, "Man, what are we doing?"
I think the Vikings would better themselves by going back, putting those the first 3 games of the season in, looking at the tape and really breaking down the details, Ted, of what they had then compared to now, because something has gone. I mean, KOC's the play caller. He should know better than anybody that it's working less and less, it seems, weekly. I mean, they barely snuck by offensively against the Colts. How many TDs they have against the Colts?
3.
3?
Yeah, it's 21-13.
Said 3, and they had none this week against a team that absolutely. I mean, they played pretty inspired on defense, Jacksonville, but they were in no. That defense should have given up 30 today. I mean, there's no question about that. But they need to really look at the details of the offense, and if they get that offense back on track, our defense is still good, people. I've been hearing about, why is the defense giving up this or that? The defense is still playing really good. I think they're playing great. Maybe some minor tweaks, but
No, I mean that there was nothing wrong with what we saw from the defense today. I mean that they did. Jacksonville didn't really have any big third down conversions. They had the one drive where they went down the field and got their one touchdown for the game. And other than that offense, because I'm looking at the possession charts here, they had that one drive that went 70 yards, and after that, the most they gained on any drive this afternoon was 25.
And I do believe on that touchdown drive they had, Cashman was out.
I think I saw that too. Yeah,
he was out. He re-aggravated that turf toe injury, and the trainers were out. He was out on the sideline. They were working that injury, and then he came back in, and the Vikings defense was completely different for the rest of the game.
Well, I had mentioned the Jags and the Eagles game before they played the Vikings. They had 11 drives in that Eagles game, Ted, and they didn't score until the 8th drive. They got a touchdown, but there was only 2 drives during that game they had more than 6 plays in. So they had 5 drives with three or less plays. So I knew coming into this game, I mean, out of 11 drives, they were terrible. I don't know what the drive count was for them today. I don't know if they had 11 or 12 or how many times they had the ball, but they only scored 1 time out of their drives. But man, I was just sitting there thinking, how can we do a show if we lose to a team that had 1 good drive, Chris, during the game? 1.
It would have been rough.
Oh. This show would already be over if they'd have lost.
It would be. Yeah.
We'd already been done.
I don't know. The Jags suck, and I'm happy they suck this week, Ted.
Yeah,
allowed us to get a win.
There are not many teams in the National Football League the Minnesota Vikings would have beaten this week. They were fortunate to be playing one of them.
If this was a boxing match, we'd have won the boxing match by the other boxer falling over and having a heart attack and dying.
Yeah,
not because we earned it,
or knocking himself out at the end of the match like it did.
Glass Joe.
Yeah, Glass Joe. Speaking of which, when's that Tyson Jake Paul fight? Isn't that coming up soon?
I think it's this week, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that.
Is it still on Netflix? It's still on Netflix, right?
Yeah. I'll look up the date here.
What about Aaron Jones?
Yeah. Have you seen anything on the post game comments on the social media about his status, Chris?
I have not yet. Yeah. No, the Tyson Paul fight is on Friday.
On Friday.
And it's on Netflix. So, yeah.
Go Mike Tyson.
Absolutely.
Jay Johnson says it's the 15th. So, yeah. So Friday.
Yeah, that's this Friday.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones hurt every other game now. It's like, at least he came back. Good to see him come
Just
back.
a rib injury is all they are saying. Okay. Yeah, at least he came back and played. That's good. Rib injuries, that's tough to manage, I think. All right. Tyson, everybody says Tyson in 3. I hope Tyson kills him. I can't stand Jake Paul, but that's just me. Anyways, okay. We got to get ready to wrap this up. You guys got anything else you want to say before we get to Ruby to spin the wheel? Drew.
No, I think we've basically
Chris,
covered everything.
Like I said, Chris.
My bad.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'll just go ahead. All right. I think we basically covered everything. I mean, it was ugly. It was. You will not see this game on ESPN Classic, nor should you want to ever. If you miss this game and are just listening to the post-game show, don't go out of your way to watch this football game. I know AFN usually shows these games live. They didn't show the game live today. If you're watching us from overseas, don't bother with the replay on Monday morning. Just do like anything else. The Vikings won, and that's the only thing you need to know.
That's about all you can say, Ted. There's not really a lot to go off of with this game. Uncle Paulie said it best to all of us. But it's always better to win than lose. That's not very in-depth or anything, but this isn't a game where you're going to break it down in depth. This is a game where you sneak out of there with a win. I don't know who they got next week, but they got a lot of shit to figure out.
They are at the Tennessee Titans next week.
At Tennessee next week.
Now, if we're playing Tennessee and it's 10-8 in the fourth quarter, we got problems. They got a week to figure this out. But we're having a show. They got the win, and we're 7-2. We're keeping pace with the Lions. Oh, and just to let you know, the Lions play Jacksonville next week. We have to track that, see what the final score is on that game.
I have a feeling Detroit's going to blow Jacksonville out by like 50-17.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thanks for everybody showing up today.
I appreciate everybody showing up. Ruby, are you there to spin the wheel?
Hello.
Hey there.
All right, here we go.
Hi, Rubinator.
Todd Taylor, 900-0 Detroit. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Who's going to be the big wheel winner, Ted?
All right. Here we go.
What if it lands on Mac Jones?
Send him a prize.
Like Cashman landed on him.
Nick Howard.
Nick Howard, friend of the show, Nick Howard. Well done, Nick. Nick, you know the drill. You're a past winner. Get a hold of Ruby at VikingsReportDrewandTed@gmail.com. She'll send you a link to the to the prize vault. Pick out a prize. We'll get it mailed out to you. Sorry we didn't have a studio show this past week, folks. I was like really super sick most of the week, but we are back in studio. Chris, you have a real job this week. You're not going to be able to join us. Is that true?
That is accurate, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you're fired this week. So yeah, you'll have to deal with me and Drew.
Just for that, I'm going to pick all the Vikings for no one cares about your fantasy team again next week. even if it is in violation of every single rule the game has. Whatever.
Maybe we'll have a cardboard cutout of you, and we'll just have you picks done anyways.
You guys are the best.
So Vikings win 12-7, move to 7-2. At least if nothing else, they keep pace with Detroit for the time being. The Bears lost. I believe Green Bay's on a bye this week.
Yep. Detroit plays tonight. Yeah. So,
Detroit's going to lose to Houston. That's my call. I've been calling.
I hope so. Yeah. Look, look. It's not a satisfying win, but an unsatisfying win is better than any type of loss, which is never satisfying. So I'll take it. The Vikings are about 4 or 5 wins better than where we thought they'd be, and they are in the thick of the playoff hunt. They still have 2 more road games that are very winnable before they come back home to face the Arizona Cardinals on the 1st of December. Thank you, T. Kubler. Chris also serves, so wish him a happy Veterans Day as well. For Chris, for Drew, for Ruby, I'm Ted. We will see you next Friday and Saturday for our studio show, and we will be live next Sunday after the Tennessee Titans and the Minnesota Vikings have hopefully a titanic clash that we have more to talk about than what we witnessed this afternoon.
I gave you sex hair, baby. I gave you sex hair, baby.
I'm bald.
Sex hair.
And Drew's muted himself. All right, very nice. Oh, Toots has muted him. All right. That makes sense.
See you next week, folks.
Have a good one.